All right, if we could get everybody seated, we'll get underway. All right. Very well. All right. Hello, my name is Jerry Cabot. I'm one of the co-presidents of the League of Women Voters of the Charleston area. So it is time to start this exercise in voter education. And for your information, there will be a recording of this forum, and it will be posted to the League's YouTube channel approximately 24 hours after the forum. So let's get underway, and let's welcome our moderator, Raphael James, a senior member of the Live 5 news team.
Good evening. Thank you, Jerry, for that introduction. Welcome to you all. Thank you all for being here. Are you ready for an evening of discussion? Yes, you are. That is why you're here. I want to start by defining what this candidate forum is and what it is not. So, it is not a debate. It is an opportunity to share candidate platforms and issue positions throughout the community. The Charleston Area League of Women Voters and the Charleston chapter of the Links Incorporated are co-sponsoring this candidate forum. It is a nonpartisan event. Those are nonpartisan organizations. On November 4th, you will get an opportunity to choose 6 candidates to serve on Charleston City Council, and City Council members serve 4-year terms. Let's introduce the candidates. Here are the candidates for Charleston City Council, sitting together by district, and please raise your hand or stand when I call your name. District 2, Abraham Champagne. Kevin Sheely is not here with us tonight. He could not join because of a family matter. In District 4, Mr. Robert Mitchell. Mr. Aaron Polkay. And Mr. Rashid was supposed to be here, but I don't see him at this time. District 6, Mr. Ben D'Alessandro. Also representing District 6, Mr. William Dudley Gregory. District 10, Stephen Bowden. William Connor, also running in District 10. District 12, Miss Annette Begner was supposed to be here. We don't see her yet. Miss Deanna Miller is here, though. And Miss Leslie Scardon. These are your candidates for tonight's forum. Now, after opening statements in just a moment, each candidate will respond to questions by district. During this section of the forum, the district candidates together will come to the table here in the center and face the same questions, district-specific questions and general questions. I will, at some point during the discussion, collect questions from the audience, from you, the audience. So you were handed out forms to jot down questions. If you were not handed one and you need one, just raise your hand and they will make sure to get one to you. In section 2, we will move on to the audience questions. Now, candidates will not come to the center table during that portion of the program. You'll use the standing mics that you see here in front of you. No questions will be asked of a personal nature. Candidates will have 60 seconds for an opening statement. How many seconds? 60 seconds. Candidates will have 90 seconds to respond to questions. How many seconds? All right. Candidates will manage their own rebuttal time. You can elect to rebut a comment during your next response opportunity, but doing so doesn't afford you any extra time to make your point. Each candidate will have 60 seconds for a closing statement, and we ask that candidates use closing statements to summarize the issues that you've already discussed and share your vision for the position that you seek. Now, to keep the flow going, we have an official timekeeper. She's seated on the front row, Miss Jerry Cabot. Raise your hand, Jerry. Can everybody see Jerry? I'm mainly talking to the candidates. Can you all see Jerry? All right. And if you can't quite see Jerry, you do have a bell, correct? All right, I like that. Sounds like Jeopardy or something. All right. Okay, so, and then she has a sign that says 30 seconds and a time to stop, after which please stop speaking. Now, as I stated, the forum will have a section during which members of the audience may submit a question. Audience members, very important, as you listen to the candidates and what they have to say, you can write questions on a card and pass it to the aisle, and one of the volunteers will come and pick it up for you, okay? Please write questions for one district or the whole city council altogether. It doesn't matter, whatever you want them to address. During that section, the response time again will be 60 seconds, not 90 seconds. We're almost done. I'm rushing through as fast as I can with this part of the housekeeping. Recordings of the event, as Jerry mentioned, whether they be in person or on a digital device, may not be used without express written approval of the league and the links. The league and the links will only allow audio, video of this event to be used in its entirety except by the media reporting on the event. And when I say media reporting on the event, I see Live 5 News in the house. So. All right. So at this moment, ladies and gentlemen, please silence your phones and please hold all applause until the conclusion of the forum. And I'm going to get out of your way so that you can hear from the candidates. We will start with District 2, candidate Champagne, for opening statements.
Thanks to the League of Women Voters for inviting us out tonight. I'm Abraham Champagne. I'm running for City Council District 2. My background is an educator, a community advocate, and a planner. I've seen firsthand the impacts of decision-making, good and bad. And I work in rapidly growing communities across the region, helping with housing and transportation to create more livable communities, so as a planner.
Mr. Mitchell.
Everyone, thanks for having me. My name is Robert Mitchell. I represent District 4. I'm also the Mayor Pro Tem for the City of Charleston, have been on City Council for a number of years, and I'm just here to keep things flowing for the City of Charleston, making sure the City of Charleston is staying diverse, if you may, and keeping things flowing with all the fires that we have burning in the City of Charleston right now.
Mr. Poquet.
Good evening. My name is Aaron Poquet. I was born and raised in the Charleston Peninsula. My mom still lives in the house where I grew up. I attended Buste Academy, the academic magnet high school, and Georgetown University, as well as University of South Carolina School of Law. I'm a public interest lawyer and a nonprofit executive. Our community is rapidly changing, and I'm running for City Council to provide new leadership and fresh ideas. The time has come to pass the torch to an advocate who has the practical experience and deep community roots to deliver the results we need. My priorities include lowering housing costs, mitigating flooding, preserving the area's cultural heritage, reining in development, and expanding opportunities for our youth. I would be honored to have your vote on November 4th.
Mr. D'Alessandro.
My name is Ben D'Alessandro for District 6. I am running for City Council in order to do more to strengthen communities at a time when the world has gotten more expensive, divisive, and lonely. It is important for the city to offer more free outlets for people to socialize. Maybe that's through more park amenities, safer streets to play in, free events, or more senior events to be held in the public housing? Thank you.
Mr. Gregory.
Good evening. Our mantra is, it's the water, stupid. And by that we mean we need to do something that people can feel. And what we've done in District 6 is we're building a $200 million pump station that will help with the water in 20% of our neighborhoods, as well as help with commerce. Our next project will be something that all you're familiar with, and that is Haggard and Fishburne Street, where we have a very, very serious flooding problem. We're now hiring an engineer to take a look at it and give us some advice on how we can fix an area that has plagued this city for many years. Again, it's the water, stupid. And guys, let's make sure when you vote knowing exactly what people have done, not what they promised to do. Thank you.
We go over to District 10, Mr. Bowden.
Good evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters and the Links for hosting this forum tonight. My name is Stephen Bowden, and for the last 4 years, I've had the honor of representing District 10 as a member of City Council. During that time, we've worked to make development smarter. We've banned fill-and-build development, and we've put in place stricter stormwater standards to avoid the mistakes of the past. We've devoted millions to flooding improvements. We've acquired 200 acres of property to preserve and renaturalize in the Church Creek Basin to protect our homes from flooding. We've worked with the legislature to get the money we need for the traffic improvements that we desperately, desperately need for a growing area. I'm running because I have 2 young children, and I want to pass down the best version of this city to them I can. I'm asking voters to give me another term to finish what I started and keep us on the right track. Thank you.
Mr. Connor.
I'm Will Connor. I'm running for District 10. I'm a licensed civil engineer. I've been working in District 10 for 40 years. I've been living there since 1993, and I would like to think my expertise would be of great help to the city and to District 10. The issues are traffic and storm drainage. I deal with that virtually every day, 5 or 6 days a week. Nobody really has to explain the problems to me, and they don't really have to explain the solutions. I've got a lot of stuff I would like to do to help District 10 and the city overall. So I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
I'm used to having to pull them down. It's kind of my punchline. But I've seen almost 9,000 sunsets living in Charleston, and about 8,000 of those have been on James Island. And my opponents have seen about 2,065 for the one that's not here. And so for over 2 decades, year after year, from sunrise to sunset, I've been filling my hours as a managing director, as an advocate for James Island, and as a volunteer with children and families. And over the last 2 decades, Charleston with the issues that we see today, like flooding and affordable housing, they're not the same issues that we saw over 20 years ago. And you know, I've been here through a pandemic, I've been here through a recession, and I've been here through this incremental growth. And these are experiences that you can't learn. These are experiences that you have to live. And my care and concern for Charleston isn't just limited to James Island. I shop in West Ashley, I see concerts on Daniel Island, and I dine on the peninsula, and unfortunately sit in traffic on Johns Island. And so tonight, I hope you see that the care goes further than just James Island for me. Thank you.
Ms. Garden.
All right, well, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. It is such a pleasure to be here with you. I have had the great fortune of working with the League of Women Voters for many years, and thank them and Links for doing this. I actually served on the Charleston board of the League of Women Voters and the state board, and so deeply appreciate this organization's commitment to good government and transparency and accountability, and have stood side by side with many of you testifying in front of City Council and in front of state redistricting communities. So to the League and everyone everyone here. Thank you again. My name is Leslie Scarda, and I'm running for District 12 on City Council. You're going to hear me talk about three things tonight. First, I'm running because I believe deeply in service. Second, we're going to talk about the issues: infrastructure, traffic, flooding, and quality of life. And third, you're going to hear me talk about my experience and why I believe I'm the best candidate as a CEO of a statewide nonprofit, as a Charleston Parks and Recreation Commissioner, as a commissioner on the City on Women, as a founder of an educational organization to bring children together across our county, and as someone who has worked across every level of government on flooding. Thank you.
And Mr. Lukman Rashid is in District 4. If you'd step to the microphone, and you have 60 seconds to give your opening statements of who you are.
60 seconds. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lukman Rashid. In 1970, I moved from James Island, South Carolina, to what is now known as District 4. During my 55 years residency, I graduated from Rivers High School, 1971, enlisted and served honorably in the United States Navy, married 48 years, raised 4 children, all attended Charleston County schools. I've been an active member of my local faith community over 50 years, holding various leadership positions. In 2001, I established the Islamic chaplaincy at the Al Cannon Detention Center. 67 up yet?
Not quite.
Okay, okay. With God's amazing grace, all things are possible. Because of God's amazing grace, we are a resilient and exceptional communities. Because of God's amazing grace, we are phenomenal neighborhoods in the communities. Because of God's amazing grace, we have many faith.
And that is your time. That is 60 seconds. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for these candidates. And we're going to ask the candidates for District 2 to please move to the center table at this time. Bring your tents with you, your name tents. And Mr. Shealy, again, was not able to be here, so Mr. Champagne will take these questions this evening. Mr. Champagne, are you ready? You have 90 seconds to respond to these questions. We'll start first with a district-specific question for District 2. What specific steps will you take to address infrastructure and flooding challenges in West Ashley, and how will you ensure public input is part of the decision-making?
So my approach to infrastructure and flooding challenges is very holistic. We need to look at the options of not just gray infrastructure, which is pipes and gates and things like that. We need to look at green infrastructure as well, looking at preserving some of those green spaces and those waterways in a comprehensive way. In my district, it is separated by many waterways. We have Church Creek, and we have the creek going through to 17, and so it's very important for my district that we preserve those waterways and we ensure that we focus on infill development as an approach to prohibit some of the unnecessary development that goes into flood zones and whatnot.
All right. The second question is a citywide question that you will hear throughout the evening to other candidates as well. We'd like to get your take on Charleston's First Amendment demonstration ordinance. It requires permits for demonstrations involving more than 25 people. Do you support this ordinance as currently worded and enforced?
Well, I would need to look at the ordinance a little bit closer, but in general, I do believe that free speech is very important in the city. We have challenges with making sure that groups are organized in a proper fashion and making sure that they're in the spaces that necessitate some type of population control, but in general, free speech needs to be supported. It needs to be encouraged in the city.
Thank you, sir. You may return to your seat. There will be other opportunities to respond to questions in just a little bit. I want to invite members of District 4, Mr. Mitchell, Mr. Polkay, and Mr. Rashid to bring your tents along as well to the table. There are three. So any one of you can start. We'll start again with the district-specific question. And just to remind you, you will have 90 seconds to respond to these questions. For District 4, what can the city do to affect the pace of gentrification within the east side of Charleston? What lessons do you take away from Archer School redevelopment? Use your microphone. There you go. You can pass that along.
On the east side, so far as gentrifying the area, it goes a long way back. Working on that area for the longest time as a HUD-approved housing counselor, assisting people in saving their home from foreclosure.
Okay, hold on just a moment. Sorry to interrupt you, and we'll credit you your time. Can you hold the microphone? I just want to make sure everybody can hear you.
Will do. In the area on the east side, so far as area is being gentrified. It was gentrified long years ago. Working as a HUD-approved housing counselor for 33 years at Tri United Way, I worked with a lot of homeowners in that particular area, but the problem was when we first started having gentrification in that area is our individuals selling their parents' home that was left to them paid for, didn't fix the home up. The home was being demolished or the home was being given away for taxes. So the city took it over. And a lot of the home was given to nonprofit organizations like the churches on the east side who received those homes, and it made those homes and renovated and have it as affordable housing for the individuals on the east side. And so far as on the area of gentrified in the area, that's what happened, the cause of gentrification in the east side in the beginning, way back when. So then I worked with them a lot, even with the South Carolina State University building, what I had built there, to try to improve the east side by bringing that to people so they can see something that they have that they can be able to go to. So far as South Carolina State University, the first time we have an institution that's there, South Carolina State University. It's a historical black institution in the area of the city of Charleston. Never had one there before. So I worked hard to get that done there. Then we came back with you talked about the Archer School. I worked for the Humanities Foundation to get that done for senior citizens because we didn't have. That's it.
Okay.
Could you repeat your question, please?
Yes, sir. All right, Mr. Rashid, the question is, what can the city do to affect the pace of gentrification within the east side of Charleston, and what lessons do you take away from Archer School redevelopment?
The latter, Archer School, a beautiful building that they repaired, replaced with like housing. The thing about the housing they have with the Archer School is that it's only going to last 38 years. It's a front. After 38 years, it's going to be gone. Only 38 years will the lower-income people be able to live in there. After 38 years, who knows what it's going to be? It's going to be high-ended. That's a lesson. And it's always trickery in that. And they always do that. Take, for instance, County Hall. They did the same thing. Okay, now for gentrification, it's another tricky thing. The city did nothing to help the residents of the east side of obtaining grants and loans from the banks. Red line. It is always those things that messes us up and then cause confusion within our homes, cause dissension, and make us sell our properties. Why? Because we can't afford it. Years after year after year, these same old political stunts that they pull, those in power, they do the same thing every year. year after year after year. Thank you.
Mr. Poquet, would you like for me to repeat the question?
No, I'm good. Thank you. First of all, the Archer School repurposing was an excellent project, and I credit Mr. Mitchell for all of his great work in that regard. The next phase of this issue really encapsulates my prism for this entire campaign. How's it going to affect my mom, right? She's been in the same house since 1973. How's she going to be able to afford to fix her house with increased building costs, with increased permitting costs? How does she age in place, and how does she pass that asset down to the next generation? 3 things. Number 1, gentrification is a regional issue. Housing supply, housing stock. Are we part of the regional conversation with respect to adding to supply? And are we engaging in that in an intelligent, researched, and thoughtful fashion? Number 2, when it comes to a project like Archer, excellent project, but when someone's owning a single-family residence, we really have to wrap around them in a home-by-home perspective, right? We have to survey, we have to provide a census, we have to provide resources to individual property owners to figure out what is the source of the displacement. Is it taxes? Is it upkeep? Is it repair? Are there deed issues, right? So I, if elected, would embark upon a building-by-building assessment of them. And number 3, we have to build back a sense of community, right? We're all living with each other, we're all living next door to each other, and it can no longer be an us-them formulation when it comes. The folks that have moved in next to my mama love living there, and she should be able to stay there as long as possible so they can keep loving her living there too.
Thank you, gentlemen. Your citywide question: what criteria should the city use when selecting AI, artificial intelligence vendors and partners? How would you ensure transparency in the city's use of AI technologies?
Well, this is a question of first impression for me, so thank you to whomever submitted this one. I have to tell you that generally speaking, I have significant concerns about the use of artificial intelligence, and one of my biggest concerns about that is in as much as we are promoting efficiencies, we're also displacing job opportunities for people who are working for the city. There are a lot of privacy concerns. AI is really built on the premise of taking in order to encapsulate and put back out. So although I'm not going to pretend to you all like I'm an AI expert and I'll be able to mine a contract to figure out what those issues are, I just have to let you know what my values are. And my values are, I'm not for replacing people, and I'm not for taking information and repurposing it without the appropriate levels of privacy and permissions. So as I were to get educated about that issue and learn more, those are the biases that I'll bring into those proceedings, and hopefully somebody might be able to make me not so much of a Luddite on it, because I don't really like AI. I've never used ChatGPT, believe it or not, because I got a big problem with the fact that the whole process is predicated upon acquiring from other people their items without necessarily their express permission, and then repurposing it for a level of efficiency that I believe is actually designed to replace us all, and I'm not here for that.
AI, what is an amazing thing. The city cannot stop its employees from using AI. Why? Because whatever assignment they're given, they're going to do what they want to do. And the thing about it, it's not a thinking anymore. It's all putting in whatever you want to put in, and it feeds it. Then you send it to the supervisor, or the supervisor sends it to the department head, sends it to the city council. So it's a win-win, lose-lose situation. But anyway, if it works, it works. If it don't work, it don't work. But what's really needed is that the city should monitor their workers, and the city council should also be more abreast in reality of what AI is and the way it's used in the workplace.
And Mr. Mitchell.
Okay, AI. I'm still looking at AI and reading up on AI. I don't too much agree with it, with AI, and that's something that I'm have to study more on the AI myself, because AI to me is not the best thing going so far as I'm concerned. That's just my own personal opinion on it. And they're using AI for this, AI for that, but I don't see that it's helping us that much in doing an AI. So I look for things to be in a general, in a global sense, that we all under one, working together and making sure that we all are equally together in certain aspects. But AI is something that is so global and is so scattered about, and we talking about one side of AI on one side, and then on the other side is but AI. So AI, I'm not too enthused on it right now, but just keep checking on it and reading about it and finding more information about it, because I don't want to see anyone be hurted but AI on no sides. So that's why I'm have to keep reading and more information about the AI. And that's where everybody's pushing AI, but I don't too much agree with everything that I hear about AI. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. That is our time for District 4. You may return to your seats, and we ask that the members running for District 6 bring your table tents to the stage at this time. Incidentally, District 4 represents the east side of Charleston. I'm sorry. Am I west side? I'm sorry. I'm going to come you. Don't hold it against me. All right. Gentlemen, you'll have 90 seconds to respond to these questions for District 6. Do you agree with the exemptions built into the MUSC zoning overlay? How will you collect and relay the concerns of the adjacent neighborhoods to the full council?
I generally agree with the overlay, and I am happy that MUSC is willing to stay downtown. I think we should do everything we can to harness their strength and keep them wanting to be downtown. The discussion should be taken to each neighborhood that is adjacent to MUSC prior to granting them any permits. It will add a dramatic amount of construction and traffic and congestion on the adjacent roads, and it is very important to take their opinions into consideration and then take those opinions back to council. Thank you.
I strongly support the medical district overlay. I support it because what it will do is it will help us get development done much quicker. It's not that the overlay will excuse any of our normal oversight and review. What it will do is just let the medical university know these are the things that are eligible to be built here. And I like to use the hotel overlay as an example. A hotel overlay is to let folks know that hotels can go there. It doesn't short circuit, but it shortens the process in terms of having to go forward and get a variance to do X, Y, Z. And the kinds of things that the medical university is proposing, from hotels to cafes, and more importantly, a state-of-the-art cancer center, a world-class center. I think working with the medical university will also help us to get things like the Calhoun Street corridor, which is a flood zone. Working with a state agency will help the city to alleviate that problem much quicker. So I'm in full support of it. There are neighborhood concerns, but we're working through those concerns weekly. The concern has to do with height, but if anyone's familiar with it, you won't be able to see the height from the street because it'll be set back 100 feet. As for traffic, there will be a traffic study to determine whether or not it will have an effect on the neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gregory, if you wouldn't mind turning your table tent towards the audience. There you go. I'm not a blank. All right, your citywide question, we'll go back to the First Amendment question. Charleston's First Amendment demonstration ordinance requires permits for demonstrations involving more than 25 people. Do you support this ordinance as currently worded and enforced?
I think it's very important to provide the police with the tools they need in order to keep the city and the protesters safe when protests are occurring. My only issue with the current ordinance as it's worded is the 15-foot from monuments and fountains part of it. That really makes it difficult to protest in some areas, and perhaps that could be looked at. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with the ordinance, and I agree with the reasoning of Ben. Our police officers definitely need something that they could use, and this ordinance came about after the George Floyd's death and the riots that took place on King Street. And this gives our officers the ability to be able to control crowds. I don't think that it limits free speech at all. In fact, I've already asked for an opinion from our corporation counsel in that regard, and she assures us that it doesn't. And there was a specific protest in question, and it had to do with a protest at Marion Square, where there was not a permit, and the city did not allow that gathering to occur. And so it's misleading when we say that the city is not allowing folks over 25 to gather. We're just saying that you have to do it consistent with the rules so that our office would be able to have crowd control.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you both. You may take your table tents with you, and we'll hear from you a little later in our program. We ask that members of District 10 or those running for District 10 to come to the stage. You will have 90 seconds to respond to your questions. Your district-specific question is this: traffic growth, infrastructure challenges that include inconsistent power delivery, et cetera. There's not a person living or traveling in District 10 who does not complain about the stressors of development and the accompanying traffic on Highway 61, Bees Ferry, and surrounding areas. What are your ideas to address these challenges? And I might add, these questions were given to me to read. I don't know that there's not a single person living in the district, but whoever wrote this question feels that way. So, I give it to you all.
Well, I can assure you that whoever asked that question is absolutely correct. I feel it every day. I know that the traffic and congestion issues are robbing me of time at work, time with my family, time to be a better city councilman, frankly. The city is not ever going to have the money to fix all these problems on our own. The tool we have is planning. And we have got to revisit the idea of a comprehensive zoning reform that orients density where the infrastructure can handle it. Downtown, on the peninsula, there are plenty of places where infill development makes perfectly great sense, but our zoning code is preventing it. I am thankful for my colleagues on City Council who are doing great work on that issue to, again, orient some of the development downtown, to work kind of collaboratively as a region with North Charleston to kind of move density towards planned transit corridors for the Low Country Rapid Transit. But we've got to stop repeating the mistakes of the past. We cannot allow, and I think we've done a good job of this, but we have to continue to monitor these efforts to make sure that new development isn't causing flooding in existing developments. We can't keep sort of chasing our tail on these issues. We have got to get ahead of them. Long Savannah's coming, we know that. We're doing great things there to improve the project little by little, creating a neighborhood school rather than high-density apartments. Thank you.
Mr. Connor.
Thank you. Like I said, I've lived in Shadow Moss since 1993, and I've seen this incredible uptick in traffic. There are solutions out there. They're expensive. I think the extension of the Glen McConnell ought to be revived. We need intersection improvements at Glen McConnell Beast Ferry, at Marietta, at Magwood, at the intersection of Paul Cantrell and 526. There needs to be proper turn lanes put in. The lights need to be synchronized better. And there's a lot of tweaking that can be done in the planning process. But the big solutions, you can't widen 61. So you need to get up there and intercept that traffic somewhere. It ought to go all the way, it originally was planned to go all the way to Ridgeville. But if we could get it to 165, but we still got to improve the intersection at Bees Ferry and Glen McConnell. And they widen Bees Ferry, and there's more traffic on it now than there ever has been. But the traffic's not just coming from District 10. It's coming from Ridgeville, it's coming from Ravenel, Hollywood. It's coming. And there's so many subdivisions that are being built now in Dorchester County. You wouldn't believe all the subdivisions up that way. I go that way to my family property up in Orangeburg County out in the woods. And man, there's so many new subdivisions being built up there. They've all got sewer, they've all got water, and those people are coming. They come to Charleston to do their business. So we need to be ready for them, because we're not right now.
Thank you very much. I'll give you the same question that I posed to the second group in terms of the First Amendment demonstration ordinance. It requires permits for demonstrations involving more than 25 people. Do you support the ordinance as currently worded and enforced? Why or why not?
I support it. I think the police need to be aware of these types of gatherings, because when you get a bunch of people together, there needs to be somebody keeping them in line, so to speak. I've got friends on the police force that used to be on the police force, and that's one of the things they talk about, is how to handle these gatherings of people when they need to know they're going to be there, they need to protect them from other folks, and they need to keep the demonstrations from getting out of control. So yeah, I'm in favor of it.
Mr. Bowden.
This is a complicated one for me because, courts have for many, many years upheld reasonable time, place, and manner restrictions where we can, have the power to, make sure that we know sort of where people are going to be, and that it's not going to interfere with people who, are just going about their day and don't want to protest. There's a First Amendment right to not protest as well. And so, we have to balance those interests. And that's what this ordinance is about. It is about balance. It is about providing those tools to law enforcement so that they can protect the people protesting as well as the people who choose not to protest. But we always need to be looking for, anything in our code that is preventing somebody from having the opportunity to freely speak in public. We need, each time we're getting one of these permits, if somebody is coming to us and saying, I thought this was too challenging of a process, or, I think that I should be allowed to protest in Marion Square as opposed to Hampton Park, we need to look at the things that are preventing them from doing that and see if there are tweaks available. Y'all, it's a fine ordinance, it's constitutional, but that doesn't mean that it can't get better. And there's absolutely no reason to be, married to the words on a paper if we can maximize somebody's rights in a better way.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. You may take your table tents and return to your seats. And as we call the next group, the last group up, District 12, certainly not the least group, Ms. Miller and Ms. Scarden, I want to let you know that if you would like to ask a question of the candidates that applies to you or your district or the city as a whole, the volunteers have cards that you can write your question out on, and very shortly we will be getting to your questions. Ladies, how are you?
Great.
Very good. For your district, District 12, your district-specific question: who are the specific actors you believe the city should be collaborating with right now to increase the stock of affordable housing in District 12?
Happy to go first. So affordable housing is an imperative issue in Charleston, and not just in the city of Charleston, but the county and the Tri-County area, and it is something that we absolutely have to address. People need to be able to live and work and play in the same place. You know what? Having affordable housing is also going to help solve our traffic, because it's going to help get cars off the road. It's also going to help improve safety, right? The more cars you get off the road, the more you can live and work in the same area and walk to places, the better. So this is an absolutely key issue. I applaud so many of the stakeholders working across the county and the region on this. I recently saw a fantastic new private sector fund that's going to buy apartment complexes to keep rent the same and then offer a return to those investors, right? So it's private solutions, it's public solutions. The mayor's put forward a plan to add 3,500 new units. We absolutely must address affordable housing. Now, as that pertains to James Island, we have traffic problems, we have infrastructure problems, we have flooding problems. We also have a plan called Rethink Folly Road that was created almost 10 years ago, but we have not seen results on that plan. That plan lays out different districts where we can look at building appropriately and responsibly to ensure that we have multimodal infrastructure, livability plans, and have that affordable and attainable housing that we need. This is a big issue and one where we need everyone to come to the table and look at results that have worked and implement them here.
So affordable housing is a tough one on James Island because, as I mentioned earlier, we've gone through this cycle of the last 20 years, and what have we had? We've had a recession. We have people that bought at certain times that can't sustain their mortgage. And we have a workforce shortage. So affordable housing will address so many of those issues because we have people that cannot live where they actually work. And I'm not just talking too about firefighters and teachers. I'm talking about just people that just to support even Folly Beach. I mean, because let's face it, people that work on Folly Beach, the first place that they want to look at is James Island. So it's also a way that we could support residents and businesses on Folly Beach by supporting and allowing people and giving them the option and the opportunity to live on James Island. I like what the mayor and city council just did with pledging to have 3,500 units developed over the next 5 years. And I'd like to see a little bit of that incentive trickle over to James Island. We also have to think about lifestyle changes. We have a lot of children and families on James Island, and we have a lot of single parents. And it's unfortunate when single parents have to drive so far to bring their kids to school because they just can't afford a $3,000 rent off of James Island. And so affordable housing would be at the forefront of any decision that I make going forward on city council.
All right, thank you, ladies. Your citywide question: what criteria should the city use when selecting AI vendors and partners? How would you ensure transparency in the city's use of AI technologies?
So AI is my love language. So it's something that I use for work, and it's something that I've studied. And it's actually, for the last 3 years, I go to an annual conference every year where I get to study AI and how it can benefit us and help us. And if we are using it responsibly, it's not necessarily to take jobs away from people. I mean, sure, that is in the future something that could happen, but AI is in some respect more efficient, and just for people to even interpret different in modeling and figuring out what something could potentially look like with renderings, let's say, for example. So vetting, I would say part of the vetting process would be to look at those AI partners that have different safety and security safeguards put in place, since we are working at a government level, and also Also, just taking a look at the reputation that they have, and have there been any security breaches or security measures that have been taking on these different AI partners. But no, I think AI, if we embrace it correctly, I mean, it's a sign of the times. No matter the internet, we didn't want that, and we have the internet, and we all rely on it. So unfortunately, AI is just going to be a part of our lives. So we have to learn how to incorporate that in our day-to-day, and learn how we can incorporate that at the city level.
So as the CEO of a statewide organization, one of my most important roles is team manager, right? So it's all about our team and the people that we have. And so when we can use AI to help our team become more efficient and better, that's great. So I would be supportive of how the city can use AI to make the city better, the city more efficient, help the amazing public servants who work in the city do their job better, be more efficient, help us cut red tape. There are lots of things and benefits that can be done when, of course, balanced with that safety and security. The other side of this that I do want to talk about is how AI and procurement impacts other jobs and also small businesses. So Low Country Local First is an incredible organization, and they sent out a questionnaire similar to this, but about how do you look at small businesses in procurement, right? And how do you look at local companies in procurement? And so we need to make sure that in balancing this of the future, that we're still supporting our local economy, that we're supporting our local businesses, and making sure that we're not taking jobs away, but that we're making our teams better. We're making the city work better, that we are able to empower our people to deliver those results using the tools that we have.
All right, thank you very much, ladies. You may return to your seat. And that brings us to halftime. We will take audience questions now, just as soon as I can hobble down to the floor, and we're ready for your questions. Have you enjoyed yourselves so far? All right. Okay, if you have questions, the ladies from the Links and the League of Women Voters are coming forward with them. And oh my, lots of questions, lots of great questions. All right. Can we give these two organizations a round of applause for putting this together? More and more, we are reminded of the importance of our civic duties. And all politics, most politics start on the local level where you and I can benefit from it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your questions. And now we will get started with posing them to our panel. Now, Jerry, you may get some exercise with that bell. You have 60 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, to respond. And if you go over that, you will hear the bell from Jerry. Jerry, tell him what it sounds like again. I love it. I love it. All right. All right, here we go. How will you address homelessness and mental health issues in our community? How will you address homelessness or mental health issues in our community? It's an open mic. Whoever wants to address it, feel free to step up.
Not everyone at once, right? The mayor's put forward a great plan to deal with homelessness and mental health, within the entire region, really, by combining some space that we're using to build a city operations center with what we call a Hope Center and a rapid transit, a rapid housing initiative that will give people safe, comfortable places to sleep while they are working on, working with job counselors and mental health counselors, drug and alcohol addiction counselors, get them into a place where they can establish some stability and succeed in more permanent housing. Now, that's not going to solve everything, because the permanent housing is only getting more expensive. And so, affordable housing at every level of income is got to be the next part of this. But we have got to work together as a region on the rapid shelter program.
Thank you very much. And I don't want to make it seem like everybody has to respond, but you have that opportunity now. Anyone else? Mr. Gregory.
Yes, the city's been working on the homeless issue for some time. And I'm sure most of you are familiar with 180 Place. And 180 Place is now doing some transitional units, and the city contributed $6 million to that. We currently also have the Hope Center, which is a day center on Meeting Street. And like my colleague just said, we'll be moving that further up to where we are going to have the municipal complex. I'm not quite in agreement on the rapid housing portion of it, but the rest of the Hope Center I clearly support. And we need to also start building some transitional housing so that folks can move from homelessness to permanent homes.
If you look back 50 years ago, there were a lot of mental institutions in this country where most of these people were housed, and they, for the most part, were cared for. But we got away from the mental institutions, and those people just end up on the street. And they've got mental problems, they got substance abuse problems, and they're living on the street, they steal, they fight with people. I think we need to get back to find a place for these folks to stay and get them some medical help, because we just don't want them roaming around like the big, huge guy that used to walk down the middle of Folly Road, waving his arms and yelling at people, and the police would have to come wrangle him, and that's just not how we want to do things, I don't think. I think we need to take care of these folks, get them off the street, and get them some help.
Well, homelessness is a big problem, as my colleague stated what we are doing in the city. But I'm also working with Stargard's permission that they're building some homelessness there for some more housing for homeless women with children, that they're going to house them and keep them there for 1 year and assist them with all type housing needs they have. And once they stay there for the year, they'll move them into permanent housing and assist them in paying their rent for 1 year once they get out in the community. I also have the Post and Courier to be able to pay for those entities to help them build that, because the Post and Courier didn't build one on King Street when they built all the second phase of the on King Street for housing for seniors. Everything is really too expensive. So I told them we have to do something else. So they're building one on where Stargard's permission is, and that would be for the homeless. And that would help out. It's not going to solve the problem, but we're still going to move up to Connington Avenue, which we pushed that a long time ago. Thank you.
One thing we have to keep in mind is that as we have government funding cut, is we have to make sure that we're protecting a lot of these organizations that are supporting the homeless. And so I would be interested in just studying this over the next few years to see what type of cuts have happened and how that's affecting places like 180 Place. Additionally, we do need to have some kind of a solution for people that are in the hospital or people that come in for emergency care that have to take the bus or an Uber and get dropped off at a random intersection and just repeat that cycle all over again. Lastly, I had an opportunity to meet with the James Island Outreach last week, and we discussed homelessness on James Island. There are 2 camps currently, and only 4% of the people that actually come into the James Island Outreach are homeless. And so for the homeless on James Island, they're well taken care of, but we'd love to see some kind of program to help them also get back off their feet, or get back on their feet.
For me, it's a somber situation. I have a brother born with a mental disorder. Then my oldest brother, passed last year, a Vietnam veteran. And the Vietnam veteran, that war really punished him. He's told me that he had to play dead on the ground for 3 days in blood because the Viet Cong was still there over them. Imagine the torment, the pain and agony he went through. We just don't give our veterans enough. and they need us. And our government has failed us, the veterans, and our veterans need better care for the service that we have done, that they have done, those who have the mental disorders. Thank you.
Check, check. All right. Our condolences to your brother, and we thank him for his service. We move on to another question. As the city of Charleston continues to grow, so does traffic. Ain't it so? Pedestrians crossings aren't respected, nor bikes, nor traffic lights. What is your vision to solve some of these problems? Great questions.
Well, this is very appropriate because the number one issue that I talk to voters about at their door, infrastructure and traffic. This isn't a matter of convenience, of being stuck on Folly for 15 minutes, getting on the connector. It's a matter of safety. We have seen far too many pedestrian fatalities, not only along our major thoroughfares on James Island, but also our inner streets too. I was invited to the memorial dedication of a young boy who was killed on Secessionville Road 10 years ago because there was no sidewalk. So this is an issue that we absolutely must collaborate on with the city, the county, the town, Folly, the state. And we also need someone who knows how to work with these people, someone who has experience bringing these groups together to deliver results. We need more attention on James Island. We need more funding on James Island. We need someone who's going to reinvigorate that Rethink Folly Road plan, to get those traffic calming measures in place, to get those sidewalks done, to fix those potholes, to incorporate all of that into a comprehensive plan around infrastructure. And I have spent my career working with people and building those coalitions to make sure that we deliver results for James Island.
I would like to see a strong marketing campaign put in place by the city and perhaps the county and the state to show that we are very serious about pedestrian and bike safety. Put it on billboards, put it on the radio, and then if we see people not obeying these laws, we ticket them right away. Thank you.
As much as I don't want there to be further delays on Rutledge Avenue and Meeting Street and Morrison Drive as people are streaming in, folks live around there. And when you're coming down Rutledge Avenue, when you're coming down Morrison Drive at 45 miles an hour, there are people trying to cross the street with their children. There are people trying to live in those communities. So we're just going to have to do traffic calming there. We're going to have to paint some crosswalks. It's complicated because what's the state road and all that sort of stuff. But we're going to have to slow people down. And another thing that's important is I'm very concerned that when the Low Country Rapid Transit enters the peninsula, it's going to go into everyday traffic. And that's going to begin to deter people from using that because they aren't going to get to MUSC quick enough. And I understand that there are important reasons why that's been decided, but I really think that it needs to be revisited because that's going to have to be a fast and reliable option for people to get on it. And if I'm going to also propose traffic calming on these other thoroughfares, but people aren't using the rapid transit, then it's going to cancel itself out. So we're going to have to balance those interests just as a start before my 60 seconds ends.
I believe in balancing things too. I think that the Low Country Rapid Transit will definitely take cars off the road, but also I think that the pedestrian bridge between coming from West Ashley to downtown will also take a considerable amount of traffic off the roads and have people now to either walk or use a bicycle to come. We know that the largest employer is the Medical University of South Carolina, and we feel that many of the employees will be using the pedestrian bridge to get to their jobs at Medical U.
You are correct. Traffic is here, and it's going to get worse. There are things that can be done. There's a part of the planning and zoning process when a new project of any size, the development group has to submit a traffic study. And roads are graded A through F, just like you were in school. If you got an F, that road fails. But there are suggestions made in the traffic study that many times are ignored. If a road is graded at a D, the group says, well, it's a D now, it'll be a D after we're done. We haven't really heard anything. And that needs to be changed. We need to take that D road and turn it into a C, whether it's turning lanes, traffic circles, additional stop signs, crosswalks. There's a lot of things you can do to tweak it and make it better. But if we don't have the will to do it, it's not going to happen.
As an urban planner, I deal with these issues daily. I analyze traffic and challenges across the region, look at crash rates and things like that. Traffic is a regional issue, so we've got to look at ways to redesign our roads. We have to think outside the box in certain areas where there are town centers and neighborhood corridors. We've got to slow that traffic down. We've got to find alternative ways with transit and bus-only lanes and reduce the number of lights along certain corridors. So there are many ways that we can help with traffic, but we've got to think outside the box, and we've got to work with SCDOT to make sure that there are innovative design. We cannot police our way out of speeding and light and cars running lights and things. We have to create better designed roadways and focus on land use as well.
Traffic is one of our biggest problems. I live right on King Street, and if I put my car in the yard, it will take me almost 10 minutes to get out of my driveway, because that's the way the traffic is. And a lot of time, they say the city is not doing this with traffic. The city is not doing that. That's not true. We can put things in place, and we are saying to the state, it's going to be up to the state. Most of the streets in the city of Charleston is owned by the state, and the state will determine what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. Even if we give them some suggestion, they don't have to use it. And that's one of the problems that we are having a lot with these traffic and with these streets that we have here. The state streets, not the city streets. The city only have a few streets that we take over that we have to maintain, and we don't even have money in the budget for streets. So we have to go to the state, and the state will send the money to the county, and the county will determine where they're going to send the money to. So this is the problem that we are having. So we need you all to even push your state representative and your state senators and let them know that we need this problem fixed. Thank you.
You'll hear me say this about a number of issues that the city deals with, but we need an all-of-the-above approach to fixing traffic. We need to build new infrastructure. We need to collaborate with the county and with the state. We need to work with the state on the reforms they're making to DOT. We need to work with our legislators to bring home money for the projects we need. We've got to get the referendum passed in 26. But we also have to understand that our future is going to be multimodal. It's going to involve things like the Ashley River crossing to allow people more options to get around. We've got to start planning for the Low Country Rapid Transit to go into West Ashley, our major population center in the city. That's only going to grow. During the summer, we see how much better traffic is. We've got to work with our government partners to maybe get kids on buses. Rather than everybody dropping their kids off at school and clogging up arteries. We've got to put schools in neighborhoods like we're doing in Long Savannah with the city's leadership. Thank you.
Okay. These are some great questions. You guys are on top of it. All right, now we won't be able to get to all of them. I just want to let you know that now, but these are really good questions. Want to go to the next one. What is your position on limiting the number of short-term rentals and hotel rooms on the peninsula? Do you think the city favors tourism over quality of life for its residents? Let me know if you need me to repeat it. Not everybody at one time.
I think we have done a great job building up this tourism business, and a lot of people are dependent on it now. We have put the hotels in appropriate places away from a lot of neighborhoods, and the people staying at them do not seem to bother the neighborhoods. I live 4 blocks from King Street. I couldn't even tell that tourism exists down there. As far as STR zoning, I think the city has put a great plan in place. What they have in Cannon-Borough, Elliott-Borough, where they allow it in commercially zoned areas works and the rest of the areas work. They do need to crack down on illegal STRs. Thank you.
I agree. The problem has more to do with illegal short-term rentals. I'm in Wagner Terrace, and there are a number of STRs there, and you would never know. But it's the illegal ones. Sometimes they don't even follow the rules, have loud parties, disturb the neighbors, et cetera, et cetera. I do think that we need to do a bit more enforcement to make sure that the illegal STRs do not do something that would jeopardize the entire program. That overlay is in District 6, the Cannon-Elliott-Borough overlay, and it's been working very well there. I do think at some point we may have to put a limit on the number of STRs in the city.
I believe short-term rentals should be at a limit, but in each area, in each district, not put it on all of the whole city of Charleston. When that particular area has been overfilled, is filled, then that's it. And so where I live in North Central, up on Oswego Street, let them come, let people make their money. They need it. Who doesn't need money? Thank you.
So hotels downtown, I haven't seen that happen over the last 20 years. But James Island does not have a hotel overlay, and we'd really like to keep it that way. So please, let's just keep that in mind going forward. But for STRs, so on James Island, those are really important, though. So we don't have a lot of hotels on James Island. And what do we need? What do we need rentals for? Well, we need rentals because we have kids that graduate from school and grandparents come in. We have families that are sick that are in MUSC, and people have to come and stay near family, and there's nowhere for them to stay by us. So STRs on James Island are actually really important, but I agree, they have to be done in a legal way, and we have to play by the rules. There's other parts of Charleston, I should say a beach with the name that starts with Folly. They've got a little bit of a bigger issue than we do as far as allowing and capping those short-term rentals. But I think finding that balance and really looking at it, maybe the peninsula a little bit separately from James Island and what our needs and demands are.
If you've ever been caught between two people arguing both sides of this issue, it's quite an interesting experience. I agree that there's definitely a place for short-term rentals. I think I read recently Charleston gets 7 million tourists a year. We need a place to put them. And like the man said, it's a good way to make money. It's a good way to handle the tourism business. But we do need to treat it very carefully and limit it if we can.
The real problem with the tourism industry is that it doesn't pay for itself. We have all these people coming to Charleston, they come here to spend money, and yet we end up dipping into our own coffers that should be spent on our own citizens to cover the excess issues that are caused by tourism. There's no reason it has to be that way. Myrtle Beach charges a higher fee on a hotel room than we do to cover the costs associated with tourism. If we looked at every business that essentially caters to tourism and look at ways to make sure that the tourism is paying for itself or even giving residents a leg up, that's how we address this. I don't think we need to put artificial limits on hotel rooms or STRs. I mean, the government are not central planners. That we would be terrible at that, and we would cause all sorts of unintended consequences. But we can make tourism pay for itself.
Short-term rentals. Going once, going twice. All right. What is your solution to the lack of affordable housing in Charleston? What is your solution to the lack of affordable housing in Charleston?
Well, as I indicated earlier, we really have to have a community conversation about density. Now, I always reference my mama. I love her so. Some of y'all know her. When she sees a new apartment building going up on Morrison Drive, she sees the problem. That's causing the traffic. That's causing the flooding. That's causing the growth. I don't want that. We have arguments at the kitchen table, though, because this is an economic supply and demand formulation. It is not the density itself, it's the nature of the density. It's the housing types. It's the way that it affects the adjacent communities, and it's the support that we're providing for the neighbors so that they can be preserved in their circumstances. So if elected, I intend to lead a regional conversation, a local conversation, so people can really dig in and understand. People can talk to each other. People can feel their way through this challenge. Because as long as we say no to growth, we don't have the power. People want to come here. We are not stagnant. That is a good thing. So we actually need to acquire some power and some knowledge and figure out how to manage it the right way that centers us as long-term residents.
This is one of the most important issues facing the city and will be into the future. This is, once again, is an all-of-the-above approach. The government is never going to have the money to build all the affordable units that we need, particularly at every level of income. We do have things that we can contribute. We have land, and we're doing that now and with the Housing Authority and in partnership with some private developers, but it is a supply and demand problem. That's exactly correct. We have got to be moving housing projects through the pipeline in places where they make sense. It cannot take years and years and a bunch of meddling that hold these projects up and make them more expensive. We've got to look at parking requirements. We've got to look at a variety of zoning things that are really creating unintended consequences. We tell developers you've got to build affordable housing, but we tell them that you can't build any higher than 4 stories. That's not going to work. That's just a math problem. So we're going to have to give a little to get a little, but there's places where that's appropriate, and we've done it, and we can continue to do it.
Affordable housing is a regional issue, and we need to have regional coordination in order to approach it in the proper way. We've got to look at our land use and looking at places where we can build more densely. Echoing Mr. Polkay, we've got to have that conversation about density. When we're saying no to something, a lot of residents, when they see an apartment, they think that that apartment is going to bring traffic and things that and whatnot. But depending on the holistically looking at the neighborhoods, if we put our amenities close by those apartments, it actually creates less traffic. When people can walk to amenities, it creates less traffic. It actually consumes those car trips. So we've got to really look at how we use our land. Our land use is very, very important in this and encouraging infill development.
I really like the workforce housing model, but when we think of this, we think of smaller single-family homes on a parcel. I would like to think of workforce condos maybe, and build a large complex that people have some ownership in. There's a lot of people out there that would love to have some equity, but due to space constraints of Charleston, we can't just build single-family houses for workforce housing everywhere. Thank you.
$995 Morrison Drive. The city is planning on buying that from the county of Charleston for $30 million. Who's going to benefit from that? What class of people is going to benefit from that? We don't know. Secondly, John Street, Harris Street project. One of the solutions should be to help with that is that you take the resident out there, and when you build street by street, then bring them back. Don't displace them and let them go way up to Goose Creek, Mouse Corner, and all that. Remember, $30 million on Morrison Drive. Who's going to benefit from that? Will it be the rich, the richer, or those in need? Indeed.
And we have to remember, too, that apartments are not affordable housing. Spyglass Seaside on James Island, one-bedroom apartments are over $2,500 a month. And that, to me, is not affordable for a single parent with 3 kids. And what I would like to do is, and I think what would be smart to do, is that we study cities where this has already been proven to work, cities like Boulder or a coastal city like ours, Jacksonville. And if we took a look at how they solved some of their affordable housing and efforts that they took, maybe we could utilize and use some of those ideas. Additionally, I also like the idea of high-density buildings. I don't like the idea of high density all the time, but I do like that when developers have to allocate a certain amount of housing or houses or units to affordable housing. But what I don't like is when there's 5 affordable housing units to 66 townhomes. We have to have a tip in what that percentage is to allow for greater affordable housings in those high density areas.
Affordable housing is a pretty tough nut to crack. It's hard to get prices down where people can afford, but it can be done. I've done some projects with Habitat, and they are masters at getting grants and loans for property and for construction. They're very good at getting cheaper construction materials, and of course, they get the volunteers to build the houses. So it's not that it can't be done, you just have to figure out how to do it. And I've seen it happen, and I think the city could collaborate with someone like Habitat and make it happen.
I've already talked about some of the solutions that have been enacted in other places. One thing we haven't talked about is tax incentives and how important those tax incentives are for developers as well. The other side to this coin, though, is gentrification. And as I walk through neighborhoods on James Island, there are older houses there that have been there since the 80s. And right next door, there's a brand new house. I walked in it. I asked the realtor, I said, how much is this house going for? It's tiny, 1, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. $550,000 for this tiny little house that had done some tiny upgrades to it. We are losing the culture of our neighborhoods on James Island. We are losing the history and the traditions of what makes our island so special and forcing people out. Our neighborhoods are so segregated. And so we have to look at the housing we have too and make sure that the residents who live there and who have called James Island home for hundreds of years do not get pushed out as well. And as the founder of a program that teaches the civil rights history of the Lowcountry with many of you all in this room actually, we study that history and we talk about that history, and I work with those leaders to make sure that we are having a community that works for everyone.
Public-private partnerships the only way to go in order for us to develop affordable housing. Someone talked about Morrison Drive a little earlier. We are going to have site control, and we're going to build 1,000 affordable units over there. How do we do it? Because we own the land, we can lower the cost of the units. The same thing would occur at West Edge. Everybody has seen all the development at West Edge. We are also going to build 1,700 mixed-income housing units over there in a public-private partnership, and in partnership with the Charleston Housing Authority. So again, there are things that we can do, but getting site control so that we can lower the cost of the land so that the units can, in fact, be affordable.
Raphael, excuse me. Well, how much of that City of Charleston.
Have you already, excuse me, Mr. Rock, have you already responded to this question? You'll have to do that on the next round. Anyone else on affordable housing in the city of Charleston? All right, we'll move on. Had you already responded for this question?
Affordable housing is something that's all I did all my life for HUD when it comes to affordable housing. And if you look at on the east side per se, even starting with the Grace Homes, the James Lewis Complex, that was done under my jurisdiction when I pushed to have that done with my colleagues on council. That whole tract of land we got from the DOT, I made sure that that whole tract of land is going to be for affordable housing. And see, once we own the property, the land itself, we can dictate how long it's going to be so far as affordable. So every place that was built, any housing that's built on that particular land is going to be there for 99 years. So that's why we can dictate, if we own the land, we can dictate how long it's going to be. So all those, that's a couple of units that's been done on that so far as affordable housing, and we got some more coming along the way. I just can't put it out now, but some more coming along the way, and all it's going to be affordable housing. Thank you.
I'd like to encourage all of the candidates, if there's something, a thought that comes along and you've already used your time, jot it down so that you can come back to it at a later time. Anyone else on this subject before we move on? We're doing good on time, and I appreciate, I'm being told one more. All right, well, I want to do this. I want to tie these two questions in. First of all, is there anybody in the House under the age of 18? Stand, please. Thank you for being here with us tonight. It's important, and you'll see why when I ask this question. I'm tying these two questions in. Do you believe teens should be banned from popular areas downtown after 9 p.m.? That's one question. And how about the youth and teens programming in the city? We do not have anything to do. Signed, a 12-year-old.
As a mom of 3 teens and an almost 20-year-old, I will say I am against the ban of teens being able to go down King Street after 9 p.m. I think that was rooted in something different, and I don't think I think that a lot of problems that people are facing were caused by adults, and I think we have some adults that need to learn manners and have better behavior when they're out at night. But as far as things for kids to do, I mean, I think there's a missing middle for teens. We have a lot of stuff for little kids, we have a lot of stuff for adults, but we're missing that community feel for a lot of kids to have somewhere to go. And so I can speak to the James Island Rec Center because it's in my heart, it's ingrained in my life. And the one thing I would do is I would support a redevelopment of the James Island Rec Center to provide programs for kids. But I believe that recreation at that middle age is highly important.
This is an important one, right? And I think it actually goes back to the ordinance question around demonstrations, because with the ordinance, we didn't get the chance to answer that question, right? But you have to balance protection of free speech with public safety. And in this situation, when I was door knocking, I was talking to one of the business owners who actually lives on James Island on King Street. And he said, Leslie, I have 12-year-olds and 13-year-olds in the middle of King Street at 1 a.m. in the morning before this passed. So again, we absolutely have to look at balance, and we need to be giving these kids something to do. I am so proud to be a Charleston Parks and Recreation Commissioner. We have acquired 160 acres this year. We have past paid family leave, and my job is to ensure that our 3.5-year-old twin boys have an amazing recreation area and place to be. Now, our rec center, this is a hot topic on James Island. It's a mess. We have barbed wire all over the place. Our pool is open maybe 2 months out of the year. My kid said, Mommy, why can't we go to the pool today? It was 95 degrees last week. I said, honey, it's not open. So look, we gotta put investment in our recreation. We gotta give our kids programming. Again, I'm so proud to have started a program that brings these students together to teach them, and we gotta invest in our youth.
So far as the recreation, I don't think the city of Charleston have done a good job so far as it comes to young African-American kids. On the east side itself, we don't have nothing for the young people to do. I have spoken to the mayor and tell him we have to change that. We have to even revamp our recreation department. It need to be revamped. In the city of Charleston, all the parks you see in the city of Charleston, in the peninsula, so to speak, is obsolete. So I've just approved a plan a month and a half ago to renovate Martin Park, extend the building so you can have arts and craft and everything else for the young people to do. Also, we're going to have a splash zone there for the young people because the small park that they built, they didn't cover it, so D had closed it down. So all this is in the work right now that I'm working with the city and with the mayor to get it done. And I want it done expediently. Even if I'm not around, I want it done now because it's time for it to get done right now. So this is what we are working on right now for the young people. And the young man back there, I work with him every day on the park, so I'm out there with the young people in the park every day. Thank you.
I support all of the capital investments in the facilities that Councilmember Mitchell just articulated. The one thing I wanted to add to the conversation is, and if the 12-year-old is still here, are we asking the young people, what do you want to do, right? Because we're looking at a generation now that has a completely different relationship with screens, how they socialize, and I think we far too often think that we can substitute our judgment of what it was like to be young when we were using rec centers, when we were part of athletic leagues, and we're projecting that on the generation as having a completely different set of circumstances, a completely different set of relationships. And then we get sad when they don't want to come to our stuff, right? So the first step really is to really engage the young people in safe ways to figure out how can we better serve you. And if that 12-year-old is still here, let me know, because I don't know better than you how to entertain you or how to keep you out of the streets. You know the best.
I do think we need more, if not free, affordable options for children to participate in activities in the city. The land has gotten so expensive in the city that we have to start looking at subsidizing some of this stuff. Much like the county skate park at the end of King Street, why can't we subsidize a roller skating rink? Or why can't we subsidize a bowling alley? These are things that kids love to do, but are almost impossible to build in the current climate in Charleston.
Just like we have a free Carter, we should have free things for our children to do, because costs sometimes restrict our participation. We do have a $70 million referendum where we are going to be updating our parks, and of course, I agree, we should ask the children what they need. And finally, no 12 or 13-year-old needs to be downtown Charleston after 9. They need to be home with their parents.
Councilman, you're absolutely right. No 12, 13-year-old needs to be downtown, but we have to facilitate a place for them. When is City Council going to facilitate these places for them? It's necessary. We need it. It's time for election, so here it is. Let's put it all out.
All right, it is time. We are reaching our destination now. We are coming to the end of the program. We'd like to give each of the candidates an opportunity to have 60 seconds for closing statements. We started with Mr. Champagne, and tonight we're going to end with Mr. Champagne and start the closing statements with Ms. Garden.
I've gotten the response a few times when I knock doors and talk about these issues. They say, it's been bad for 20 years, how are you going to make it better? And I say, ma'am, it's because I have a proven track record of delivering results for our city, our county, our state. I'm the CEO of a statewide nonprofit organization. My day job is to bring together the biggest businesses in the state with our utility partners, state agencies, nonprofits, and small businesses to deliver on clean energy, reducing our waste, building our workforce, and conserving our land. I'm a Charleston County Parks and Recreation Commissioner. We implemented family leave. I sit on the city's Commission on Women. I started an educational program for our children, and I've worked with the government of every level on flooding. I have the track record and the results to prove that we can do this and we can make a change. And I believe I am that leader, and I ask for your vote on November 4th or during early voting on October 20th. Thank you.
I know all of you know that the city council race is nonpartisan. And in these divisive times and with this politically charged climate, I can honestly say that I'm the candidate that fits that bill. And that's what sets me apart from my opponents. And over the last 20 years, I've held a lot of titles, and I could pull out a CVS receipt and rapid fire off titles right now, but titles don't change lives. Showing up does. And I've shown up for James Island, and I've shown up for the city of Charleston, hands on, sleeves rolled up, day after day for 20 years. So titles don't change lives. Also, I saw a gap in leadership about 4 years ago on James Island, and I stepped up and I took control, and I started to manage a platform that included 700 residents. And when there's a new development, people say, tell me about the new development. When there's a new business that's open, they say, tell me about this new business. I've been the go-to person, and I want to bring that leadership to James Island, to City Council. So I ask for your vote on November 4th.
We know all about the problems, or I say we all know about the problems that beset the city in general, especially District 10, and traffic and storm drainage. They don't have a D or an R after them. It's all of our problem, and it affects every day of our lives. And I've been sitting on the sidelines for a long time watching stuff get done wrong, and I finally decided I needed to get involved, and maybe I can help fix some of that stuff. I know I can help it. Solving it, different question. But if you vote for me, I certainly will give you all the effort I have to solving those problems.
Growing up, my dad owned a construction company. And when we would drive around town, he would point to things and say, we did that. I built that. I'm choking up a little bit because he passed away about a year ago. But one day, I'm going to be able to drive around this city with my son and tell him, we did that. We redeveloped this area. We created opportunity for this family, safe, affordable housing for people. We stopped flooding on our own street. We gave people peace of mind when a hurricane was coming, that they wouldn't lose everything that matters to them. I started out tonight saying that it has been an honor to serve on City Council for the last 4 years. I mean that with the deepest part of my heart. I'm asking my constituents to give me another 4 years to finish what I started. Thank you.
East of the Ashley.
Hurricanes, 3 mayors, storms, and a pandemic. Experience matters. We have no time to start over, folks. We need to make sure that who we put in, especially in District 6, has a clear understanding of its needs. And I'm going to finish like I started. Our mantra remains, it's the water, stupid. We need to have sound water management in this city because the water affects everything we do, and it can affect our economy. If we don't have strong water management, we may lose it all. So please, folks, when you go to the polls, let's not talk about things that people say they're going to do. Let's consider what they've done.
Flooding, affordable housing, and road conditions will be my top priorities as a councilman. Those are big ideas that require a lot of money and a lot of teamwork, and I look forward to working on those. But in the meantime, I would love to be the council person that is responsive and accessible. I'm walking the district every night. If you call me, I will answer. I would love to try and accomplish some of the low-hanging fruit, such as putting some more amenities in the parks, talking to some seniors that might be home alone, and providing some more free events in the parks. Thank you.
Equity. The former YWCA is a cemetery. The College of Charleston wants to build 1,000-room dormitory. There's 1,000 souls buried there. We need better than that. We need the City of Charleston, City Council, to bring a memorial on Calhoun Street, because the Civil War, not only Civil War, but slavery happened here, right here in the city of Charleston. And we need that memorial on Calhoun Street. This is no disrespect. The Holocaust didn't happen here in the United States, but the Jews has a memorial right there. So in equality, we should have also an African American burial memorial there on Calhoun Street, probably where John C. Calhoun statue are near in that area. Thank you.
I want to thank the folks that put this together. 60 seconds is hard. As I've said, I thank and I appreciate Councilmember Mitchell for his years of service since 1998. There reaches a point where he and all incumbents were the first time they said what they were going to do, right? Someone can't run on their record always. They have to create a record. And I'm at that point right now where I'm not saying that I've done something. I'm saying to you what I'm going to do, just like how these gentlemen were at some point in their careers. And here's who I am. I'm a public interest attorney. I've done civil rights cases. I've done affordable housing cases as a tenant advocate. And as a nonprofit executive, I worked for 10 years on anti-domestic violence and sexual assault cases. The hardest stuff to do. Right now, in this climate, I'm currently doing healthcare access during this campaign to get people on the Affordable Care Act. I'm here to tell you that I have what it takes to pick up Councilmember Mitchell's baton, to support everything that he's done, but to take it forward to the next echelon of thought, of reason, and of unity in this community.
I thank Mr. Polke for giving me all that. But anyway, I'm just running to try to solve a lot of these problems that I already have in place, starting from Union Pier all the way up to the Magnolia Project. All these things are going on, happening now. So we need to have these fires kind of simmered and have these fires out. And that's what I'm doing before I leave the office. And that's all I'm doing. Anyone coming in there behind me, whoever it may be, they would not know what's going on. But you have to work with these things now. You can implement things. Anything you implement in the city of Charleston with development, it's going to take around 10 years to do. But you have to solve some of these problems that you have now with the flooding and with the development that's going on. And I've always tried to keep things going for the quality of life for everyone who lives in District 4 and the city of Charleston. Because we represent a district, but we also represent everyone who lives in the city of Charleston. And that's what it's all about with me. Getting these things done and having these fires kind of simmered and out before I leave. And that's all I'm doing. Thank you very much.
As the final candidate, I want to once again thank League of Women Voters and Links for their efforts in this. I'm typically a behind-the-scenes kind of guy, but in this case, our region faces complex issues, from growth and redevelopment to transportation and affordability. And as your city council representative, it's my commitment to work collaboratively with neighboring jurisdictions to address the challenges and ensure that the vision for a vibrant and connected community is implemented. So my experiences from the service industry to early childhood education to being a community planner now has prepared me for this role. I envision a community where we have more places to gather, including those teenagers, where we can strengthen our connections between neighborhoods because we're too isolated, and foster sustainable growth in the region. Thank you.
I commend you all. Thank you for being here with us tonight, and thank you for allowing me to serve as your moderator. Again, thank you. I would like for you to give our candidates another round of applause. They have studied the issues carefully, communicated with you, and now you get the opportunity to decide which one best suits you on November 4th. Use the League of Women's Vote 411 online voter guide to check the status of your voter registration and learn more about the candidates' positions. Early voting starts Monday, October 20th, and runs through Friday, October 31st. Check the Charleston County Board of Elections website about absentee voting procedures and early voting sites at vote@charlestoncounty.org if needed. Again, the recording of this forum will be posted to the League of Women Voters YouTube channel in just a few days. At this time, I'd like to invite Ms. Mignon Clyburn of the Links to the microphone.
Thank you so much. Allow me to thank Circular Congregational Church, especially Susan Dunn, for hosting tonight's event. We are grateful to the volunteers of the National Council of Negro Women and, of course, the co-sponsors for the evening, the League of Women Voters of the Charleston area with co-presidents Jerry Abbott and Kara Erickson. Will you please stand just for a moment? Thank you. And I could not go to next week's meetings if I did not acknowledge the Charleston, South Carolina chapter of the Links Incorporated with President Diane Tyndall Sutton and my sister Links. Would you please stand? Thank you. We passed out some evaluation forms to you. Please fill those out. We will only get better with your help. And Raphael, please accept this small token of our deep appreciation for your excellent moderating for this evening. Wasn't he great? And this was almost planned. Your suit matches a bag. Well, before we leave this evening, I believe in doing things in threes, and I think I know how to count. Please, once again, with a show of applause, express to our candidates our gratitude for them showing up this evening. I always say one of the bravest things you could do is to allow yourself to be put in front of those like you who care about their communities and ask for your vote. That is one of the bravest acts one can commit. So thank you for your bravery and for your service. Again, November 4th is Election Day, early voting, the October 20th through the 31st. We're going to get out there and do it, and we're going to bring a couple of people with us, right? We can say that a little louder in this church, right? Okay. Have a safe and happy rest of your evening, and thank you again for joining us. Good night.